there! So you got yourself a load heading up to Canada, eh? Well, that's fantastic. Maybe you're excited, or maybe you're a little nervous, or maybe you're just in it for the maple syrup. Whatever the case, make sure your first border crossing doesn't turn into an episode of Border Wars, Confused Trucker Edition. By the end of this here video, you'll be ready to cross that border like a pro, or at least like someone who won't immediately get turned around and have to do the old U-turn of shame. Paperwork. Before you even think about hauling up north, let's make sure your company's got a CBSA carrier code. That's got to be listed on your bill of lading, you know. You and your carrier are going to use two key systems for border crossings. Pre-arrival review system for getting into Canada, and pre-arrival processing system for getting back into the US. You'll want to slap some barcode labels with these details onto your bill of lading and send them off to Customs for clearance. Oh, and make sure that US Customs and Border Protection actually scans those barcodes and approves your shipment before you roll up to the border. If not, well, you ain't crossing. And if you try to, that could mean fines of up to 50 grand. Yikes! Always keep the essentials handy in your cab. A hard copy of your CDL, a valid passport, proof of insurance, and other important paperwork, like tractor and trailer ownership, permits, and your IFTA sticker. And on your way back to the US, you'll need an automated commercial environment manifest. Keep everything where you can grab it quick to avoid any hiccups at the border. Answering questions. So when you roll up to the booth, Customs is going to have some questions for you. They'll want to know what you're hauling, where you came from, and where you're headed. Just keep your answers short, sweet, and importantly, consistent with your paperwork. If you've got a sealed load, they might ask when and who sealed it, especially if you're hauling a van trailer. And hey, if they decide to take a peek inside, don't sweat it. It's all part of the process, you know. Trip plan. Now don't just swing it, okay? Plan your route ahead of time. Know exactly which border crossing you're using, because if you show up at the wrong one, they might just send you back. Make sure you also know where to stop for fuel and brakes along the way. And for Pete's sake, check the weather before you roll out. Keep your CB radio on too. You never know when another driver's got a heads up on road conditions or delays. Oh, and bring some extra food, water, and warm clothes. This is Canada we're talking about. 1 minute it's fine, and the next, you know, you're in a snowstorm. Follow the rules. Alright, this one's important. Canada is a bit stricter with speed limits, so you gotta keep an eye on those signs. Don't assume everything's fine, and the same is back home. One big difference, hours of service rules. In Canada, you can do a 5-5 split for your brakes, while in the US, it's either 8-2 or 7-3. Just update your e-log settings and it'll adjust automatically. And get this, Canada lets you work a 16-hour day with up to 13 hours of driving, as long as you take your 8-hour break after. Since US rules are generally stricter, if you're compliant down here, you should be good up there. Don't carry anything you shouldn't. Now listen up, because this one's a biggie. Crossing into Canada ain't like heading to another state. Some of the things that are totally fine down in the US could get you stopped at the border up north. Weapons and alcohol, big no-no. And don't assume your everyday self-defense stuff is okay. Pepper spray, brass knuckles, tasers.
Gutbusters, zippity-doo-dahs, or crap flappers?
Yeah, those are considered weapons up there. If they find them, you ain't going anywhere. Also, be mindful of food. Canada's got strict rules on what you can and can't bring to prevent the spread of pests and diseases. Always check ahead so you don't end up having to toss out your snacks at the border. Canada's also got pretty strict rules about criminal history. Even a minor offense from years ago could mean you're not getting in. If you got anything on your record, best to check before you make the trip. Crossing into Canada ain't just a change of scenery. It's a solid way to expand your freight opportunities. And sure, the first time can feel a bit intimidating, but if you're well prepared, it's really no big deal. Make sure your paperwork is in order, be ready for a bit of a pop quiz at the border, and plan your route carefully. Follow the rules, and don't bring anything you wouldn't want to explain to your grandma. For more tips on keeping that freight moving and making good money, check out the link in the description. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.
Whisker biscuits, honky lighters, Hoosker do's, Hoosker don'ts.